the Galactic Empire's dominance over Earth had lasted for decades maintained. Through a fragile peace enforced by fear, the planet was allowed limited autonomy under the Empire's suffocating oversight, its resources stripped, and its people monitored. Most humans had learned to live under the weight of oppression, resigned to their place as vassals to an alien superpower that chong when the Empire's cruelty crossed an irreversible line. A single gunship descended upon a remote village in the mountains of Japan, ostensibly to hunt down resistance fighters. The alien soldiers, towering and clad in sleek exquisites, found no enemies, but razed the settlement to ash. Regardless, among the casualties was a child no more than 8, crushed beneath the rubble as the soldiers left without a glance. His name was Hero, and his death rippled far beyond the small village. John Tiata stood motionless before the smoking ruins of the village, the leader of the Tiata ninja clan. John's broad shoulders and steely gaze betrayed no emotion, but inside him burned a fire that could not be quenched for centuries. His clan had remained hidden, guarding ancient traditions of warfare and honor. The outside world considered them a relic of the past, mis-whispered about in half-remembered stories, yet here they were, real and untouched by time. Their skills honed in isolation. The death of a child, a symbol of innocence, had stirred something primal within them. One of John's oldest companions, Kento, approached silently, his movements a testament to their shared discipline. We cannot ignore this, Kenna said, his voice low but firm. The Empire has made it clear they see us as nothing. They must learn fear. John nodded, his face set like stone. Fear is the one lesson they have never learned from us, he replied. Until now, in the shadows of their mountain sanctuary, the T's convened. The clan's elders, gray hair but sharp-eyed, listened as John laid out his plan. It was audacious, bordering on suicidal. An attack on an Empire orbital base. The base served as the nerve center for the Empire's operations in the region, a fortress of steel and technology suspended above Earth. Striking it would send a message not just to the Empire, but to all who doubted humanity's resolve. We are outnumbered and outgunned, Kenta warned, though his tone carried no hint of fear. Their technology surpasses anything we've seen, yet they rely on it too much. That will be their weakness. The room fell silent as John's voice cut through the air. We do not fight as they do. Our weapons are not only of steel, but of silent shadows and patience. We will remind them what it means to face humans who refuse to kneel. The clan's preparation began immediately. From a hidden armory they retrieved their tools of war, sleek katana blades, forged from modern alloy, smoke bombs, laced with nanotechnology, and suits of adaptive camouflage that blended seamlessly into the environment. The fusion of ancient techniques and modern innovation was a Tiata clan's greatest strength. Among the warriors chosen for the mission was Akio, a young but fiercely talented ninja. His sharp features betrayed no hesitation as he tested the weight of his blade. I am ready, sensei, he said to Jan, bowing deeply. John placed a hand on Akio's shoulder. It is not just skill that matters, Akio. It is purpose. Remember, Hero, remember why we fight. The Empire, oblivious to the storm brewing against it, continued its operations with cold deficiency. On the orbital base, alien commanders reviewed maps of Earth, marking territories for further exploitation. They saw humans as a defeated species incapable of meaningful resistance. To them, the death of a single child was a trivial occurrence, unworthy of notice. That arrogance would be their undoing. As the T warriors finalized their preparations, John took a moment to stand before the shrine within their sanctuary. Incense smoke curled around ancient statues of their ancestors, warriors who had defended Japan through countless eras of turmoil. He knelt, placing his sword before him. Guide us, he murmured, grant us strength and clarity that we may honor our legacy and protect our people behind him. Kenta approached his presence quiet, yet grounding. Do you believe they will understand the message they don't need to understand it? John replied, rising to his feet. They only need to feel it. Night fell over the mountains, and the T's moved out, their stealth suits absorbed the light around them, rendering them invisible against the darkness. Each step was deliberate, each breath measured. As they reached the edge of their sanctuary, the warriors paused, exchanging silent nods. The Empire's reign had lasted long enough. The death of one child would be avenged, not just with blood, but with a message. Humanity was not beaten, and those who underestimated Earth's warriors would pay the ultimate price. In the distance, the faint shimmer of the orbital base reflected the moonlight, a stark reminder of the enemy's power. But power meant nothing to those who thrived in the shadows. Let's begin, John said, his voice barely above a whisper. The mission was underway. The silence of space was absolute, broken only by the faint hum of the Empire's orbital base as it hovered against the backdrop of Earth. Within its steel core, quarter alien soldiers patrolled with machine-like precision, their armored boots echoing softly. The Empire's base was a fortress. Its defense is designed to withstand any direct assault, yet no alarms blared as the decade of ninjas approached. Shadows did not trip sensors. John Diata and his team moved with a precision honed through generations. Encased in adaptive camouflage suits, they melded seamlessly with the darkness of space, their presence a mere whisper against the void. Each carried a blend of ancient weapons and cutting-edge technology. Katana blades forged from carbon alloy composite, smoke bombs infused with nanobots, and EMP darts capable of disabling even the most sophisticated electronics. They had breached the base undetected, using magnetic grappling hooks to bypass exterior defenses and cut through a maintenance hatch inside. The ninjas dispersed like water finding cracks and stone, each warrior moving toward their assigned objective. John led the main team toward the base's central hub, where the commanding officers oversaw operations. The corridors of the base were cold and sterile, bathed in dim blue light. Alien soldiers, towering and clad in exquisites, marched in disciplined formations. Their movements were mechanical, their confidence unshaken by the thought of an enemy infiltrating their stronghold. Kenna, always attuned to the ebb and flow of combat, whispered through the team's comms. 2 guards ahead, their patrol patterns overlap every 5 seconds. MB between the cycles, John signaled, and the team pressed forward in a blur of motion. Kenda darted ahead, his blade whispering through the air. The first guard crumpled silently, his exoit rendered useless by a precise EMP dart before the second could react. John's katana sliced through a vital joint, leaving the soldier motionless. The team dragged the bodies into the shadows, ensuring no trace of their presence remained. Every movement was methodical, every action purposeful. The Deos were not merely assassins, they were ghosts. Aio, the youngest among them, moved with a blend of eagerness and restraint. His sharp eyes scanned every corner, his hands steady on his blade. Sensei, he murmured to John, the control room is close. I can disable the cameras. John nodded, gesturing for Ao to proceed. The young ninja moved to a nearby console, his fingers dancing across its surface. The Empire security systems were advanced, but the Tiata clan had studied alien technology extensively. Within moments, the cameras flickered and went dark in the command center. Alien officers barked orders, their guttural language a symphony of arrogance. Massive holographic displays showed her below, with markers denoting areas of interest for resource extraction and potential subjugation. The Empire's leaders viewed Earth not as a world of people, but as a collection of assets to be exploited. John and his team positioned themselves Outside the command center there, movement synchronized each warrior, understood their role. Cananeo would neutralize the guards flanking the entrance while John and the others would eliminate the officers inside with a silent signal. The assault began. Smoke bombs rolled into the room, erupting in clouds of dense nanotech. Infus missed that, disabled targeting systems and obscured vision. The aliens panicked there, discipline facade crumbling as the ninja struck. K's blade moved like a flash of lightning, cutting down two guards before they could raise their weapons. Accio followed suit, his movements swift and Pisa, each strike a testament to his training. John, at the center of the chaos, wielded his katana with deadly efficiency. Alien officers fell one by one, their cries drowned in the smoke. Within moments, the command center was silent save for the hum of machinery. The ninjas worked quickly, downloading critical data from the consoles. Among the files were plans for a full-scale invasion of Earth, detailing troop movement, supply chains, and targeted regions for annihilation. This changes everything. Kenna said, his voice low. They weren't just maintaining control, they were preparing to end us. John's expression remained calm, but his eyes burned with resolve. Then we make sure they can't. The team planted explosive charges throughout the room, ensuring the destruction of the command center and the data it held. Time was of the essence. The longer they remained, the greater the risk of detection. As they moved toward their extraction point, the Empire finally realized something was wrong. Alarms blared, red lights flooding the corridors. Solders mobilized, their weapons primed for combat. The T's adjusted seamlessly. The narrow corridors became killing grounds, with the ninjas using their environment to their advantage. Smoke bombs created confusion, while EMP darts disabled advanced weaponry. Every movement was calculated to inflict maximum damage while minimizing exposure. In one corridor, Accio faced down a squad of heavily armed soldiers. He activated his suit's cloaking feature, disappearing from sight. The soldiers fired wildly, their energy bolts were casing off the walls. Accio moved like a phantom, striking from the shadows and leaving chaos in his wake. Meanwhile, Kenna led a group of soldiers into a trap using decoys and carefully placed explosives. He funneled them into a deadened corridor. The resulting blast left no survivors. John, at the forefront of the team, encountered the Empire's elite guard. These soldiers were faster, stronger, and better armed than the rest. Yet they were no match for a warrior who had dedicated his life to mastering the art of combat. In a blur of motion, John disarmed the first guard, driving his blade through in the armor. He dodged the second's energy bolt, retaliating with an EMP dart that left the guard's exoit powerless. The final guard hesitated, recognizing the futility of resistance, but John's blade was merciless. As the team regrouped near the airlock, John activated the detonator. Explosions rippled through the base, shattering its structural integrity. Fires raged, and sections of the base collapsed into the vacuum of space. The mission had succeeded, but the T's knew their work was far from over. As they boarded their stealth ship, Jan glanced back at the burning base. This was only the beginning. The Empire will know our name, he said, his voice of quiet promise. The shadows had struck, and the Galactic Empire would never forget. The Galactic Empire reeled from the destruction of its orbital base. Its once unshakable authority now bore the scars of humiliation delivered by enemies they had underestimated. Across their territories, whispers of the Decadas spread like wildfire, sowing seeds of fear among soldiers and citizens alike. But fear alone would not bring the Empire to its knees. John Diata knew this. The fall of the Empire would require more than precision strikes. It would demand a sling the foundation of their power. Deep within a remote asteroid belt lay the Empire's central command station, a labyrinthine fortress carved into a Hollowed asteroid protected by fleets of battleships and layers of impenetrable defenses. It was the brain of the Empire's operations. Destroying it would their ability to retaliate, leaving their forces scattered, and leaderless. John and his team had spent weeks planning the assault. Every move was calculated, every contingent accounted for, but the stakes were higher than ever and the risks far greater. This was their final mission, the culmination of their vengeance. The stealth ship drifted silently through the asteroid belt, its cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the Empire's sensors. Inside, the T's prepared for the battle. Ahead, Kentis sharpened his katana, the rhythmic sound of whetstone on steel, a steady counterpoint to the tension filling the air. AO checked the charges on their EMP grenades, his youthful face betraying no fear. John stood at the helm, surveying the fortress on the ship's holographic display. He spoke, his voice calm but resolute. This is it. We've crippled their forces, humiliated their leaders, and made them bleed. Now we cut off the head. The team nodded, their resolve unshaken. Each man knew the stakes. They were not merely avenging one life, but defending the countless lives the Empire sought to destroy. As the ship approached the fortress, the T's initiated their infiltration. Using magnetic grapples, they latched onto the outer surface of the asteroid, moving with the precision of predators stalking their prey. They found an unguarded ventilation shaft and entered, navigating the Mazik interior with the aid of detailed schematics. The corridors were narrower than those of the orbital base, the walls lined with conduits and machinery humming with power. The air was heavy with a metallic tang of recycled oxygen. The team moved in perfect silence, their footsteps muffled by specialized boots. The Empire had increased its security measures since the orbital base. Attack patrols were more frequent and automated turrets scanned every corridor, but the Decada adapted, using cloaking devices and decoy signals to bypass the enhanced defenses. Their first target was a power core, a massive reactor buried deep within the asteroid. Destroying it would disable the station's defenses and create chaos among its inhabitants. AKO led the way, his sharp eyes scanning for traps and hidden threats. They encountered their first resistance near the core, a squad of heavily armed soldiers equipped with thermal imaging visors. The T's responded with flawless coordination. Smoke bombs filled the corridor, and K darted through the chaos, his blade finding gaps in the solders' armor. Akio uses EMP grenades to disable the visors, leaving the soldiers blind and vulnerable. John struck with a brutal efficiency that spoke of years of training. He moved like a storm, each strike calculated to neutralize his enemies with minimal effort. Within moments, the corridor was silent, the soldiers lying motionless, reaching the power core. Accept the charges while the others secured the area. The reactor hummed ominously, its energy output a testament to the Empire's technological prowess. AO worked quickly, his hands steady despite the tension. Charges are set, he reported, stepping back. John activated the detonator, initiating a delayed countdown. Let's move. As they exited the reactor chamber, alarms blared throughout the station. The Empire's forces mobilized, their discipline and firepower unmatched by anything that T's had faced before. The corridors became a battlefield. Waves of soldiers poured in, their energy weapons lighting the dim halls with bursts of lethal light. The T's fought with unparalleled skill, their movements a blur of deadly precision. Kena held the rear, his katana slicing through armor and bone with equal ease. He fought with the intensity of a man driven by unshakable purpose, his strikes a blend of elegance and ferocity. AO used the environment to his advantage, setting traps and using explosives to control the flow of enemies. His youthful energy was tempered by discipline, each action serving the greater strategy. John led the charge, his presence a beacon of strength for his team. He wielded his katana with deadly grace, his movements fluid and unrelenting. Every strike was a reminder to the Empire the cost of their arrogance. The team pushed toward their final objective, the central command hub. The destruction of the power core had thrown the station into disarray, but the command hub remained operational. It was there that the Empire's leaders coordinated their remaining forces as they breached the command hub. The Empire's high-ranking officers stood, waiting, surrounded by elite guards. These were not mere soldiers, but warriors bred and trained for combat. Their armor gleamed with advanced technology, and their weapons pulsed with deadly energy. John stepped forward, his katana raised. "This ends here." The room erupted into chaos. The elite guards moved within human speed, their strikes powerful and precise, but the T's were faster. Their training and discipline honed to perfection. Can engage two guards at once, his katana a whirlwind of steel. He parried their strikes with ease, his counters leaving no room for retaliation. Akio used his agility to outmaneuver his opponents, striking from unexpected angles and using the environment to his advantage. John faced the Empire's highest ranking officer, a towering figure clad in ornate armor. The alien commander wielded a massive blade, its edge crackling with energy. Their duel was a clash of titans, each strike reverberating through the room. The commander was strong and relentless, but John was unyielding. He fought with the weight of generations behind him, every strike carrying the vengeance of his ancestors. With a final devastating blow, he drove his katana through the commander's chest, ending the duel. As the last guard fell, the command hub was silent. The T's worked quickly, planting explosives and downloading critical data from the consoles. The files revealed the extent of the Empire plans, their ambition stretching far beyond Earth. John activated the final detonator, ensuring the destruction of the command hub and the asteroid station. "It's done," he said, his voice resolute. The team retreated to their ship as explosions ripped through the station. The asteroid crumbled, its debris scattering into the void. As they watched the destruction from a safe distance, John spoke to his team. "We've done what we came to do. The Empire will fall not just by our hands, but by the chaos we've unleashed. They thought they could crush us, but they've only awakened the shadows." The T's had struck their final blow, and the Galactic Empire would never recover. Shadows had brought the mighty to their knees, proving that even the most powerful can fall.